Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. And today we have another set of brand new crazy revenge stories for you. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave comments so we know what kind of stories you love the most. Former boss botches me, then tries to withhold pay when I quit. I consider myself a decent person and an above-average employee. I worked for a medical office directly under a doctor for almost 2 years and was consistently facing issues with him from the start. He was aloof, unhelpful, didn't want to train or help establish protocol, just wanted me to run everything and take the fall for anything that went wrong. He was married with children, but flirted with numerous patients and staff members. This isn't unheard of in this field, so I often just kept my nose down and tried to do my best at my job regardless of his after-hour activities. Problems started to arise more and more as he hired people based on looks and his attraction to them versus their qualifications to do the job. I tolerated a lot of bullcrap, but the last straw was when he wanted me to do somewhat illegal activities financially, and when I refused, the games began. I could sense that he was unhappy with my unwillingness to do whatever he wanted me to, willy-nilly, but didn't think he was upset enough to justify punishing me or trying to get rid of me in any way. Then literally all hell broke loose. After a minor procedure I had him do for me, we were in good standing, or so I thought, and I thought nothing of having him do it at the time. What sucked royally is that he botched my procedure and caused permanent damage. That wasn't even the worst part. The way he dealt with it was. Instead of apologizing and offering to make it right, to which I'm pretty understanding and would have accepted, he denied anything was even wrong or had happened under his care. He went into total cover butt mode and methodically started to try to get rid of me without firing me, as it would have definitely been wrongful termination, and the tension was becoming unbearable more and more each day. I was hoping he would make it right and we could move on. But instead, every day was full of scrutiny of my choices and work, and even a write-up for a minor offense that I had no prior warning about. I could see the writing on the wall, and realized he was going to wash his hands of me as quickly as possible to preserve his precious reputation, which I could definitely disrupt now with his mistake with me. I noticed shortly after, while on a planned vacation, he was advertising for my job. I decided to quit then and there instead of being fired. I was trying to fix the botch prior to quitting and hoping he would help financially. Nope, not going to happen. Told him I was quitting, and since we were under very abnormal circumstances, that I would be not offering my typical 2-week notice. He was PO'd. He was late with my last paycheck, in which he sent a snide letter telling me he was done with me and my care with him. I noticed that the check was short 2 sick days. for 2 sick days I'd taken after the botch. We're talking about $275, but it was still enough money that I felt rightly owed. I had a ton of sick pay left and didn't even give it a second thought until now, and thought maybe he just forgot to add it. Nope, he responded curtly by saying I hadn't accumulated enough time to pay for the days. I asked to see proof of that because I knew I had enough time. He changed the accumulation date to another month and said tough luck, wasn't going to pay. I told him blatantly that this was wrong and that I would have to report it to the labor board if he couldn't show me proof. He just bullied me back and insisted it is what he says it is, and again, tough luck. He even said to quit contacting him about it or he would report me for harassment to law enforcement. So I went to the labor board, I brought in my contract, and asked them about numerous questionable offenses. They couldn't believe how many skewed things were actually going on that I had accepted because I didn't know or he'd convinced me otherwise. They had me file for all of the offenses and said they would send us both a letter letting us know the mediation date. Got the letter in the mail from the labor board and almost fell over dead right then and there. What was originally a $275 offense, with the other minor claims and penalties added from the labor board, was now $6,500. I laughed hysterically and couldn't believe it at first. I thought about him receiving the same letter that day and just reveled at the thought admittedly. Keep in mind, he didn't know at this point that I had actually gone to the labor board as I'd promised. He didn't think I'd do it. He thought he'd won up to this point. Mediation day rolls around and he sits across from me with the mediator there and is steaming under pressure now. We both share our sides, which he lied about numerous things, of course. Then we talk separately with the mediator. She explains to me that my case may be hard to prove, being somewhat he said, she said. She encourages me to kind of take whatever he offers. Before leaving the room with her, I bring up one more thing to her that I was unsure of and didn't ask about before. It involved him not paying overtime, and she lit up like a Christmas tree. Bingo! With that type of offense and me being able to show verifiable proof, he would have to pay the penalty starting at $6,000 and whatever the judge added after that. She went and told him of this new claim, and he fumed out of the building, saying I shouldn't be able to add anything at this point, not the case at all, and that he needed to speak with his lawyer. I get a new claim in the mail with the added offense weeks later. The total's now $9,600. I die again from laughing and just bask in the thought of him getting this new claim. There was no contact from him this whole time, but now suddenly there's an email sent to me in the sweetest tone I've ever heard him speak. He pleaded with me that he never meant to withhold anything from me and that he would like to settle all this peacefully outside of the court. Of course he would, I thought to myself. I forwarded the email to our mediator and told her that I didn't want to respond and asked her to deal with him and let him know that I want to continue the no contact he requested earlier. Weeks go by, we're creeping closer to a court date. Suddenly the offer rolls in, $4,000 and he'll settle. I was set on $5,000 because of all the hassle I had to go through up to this point. I tell the mediator to tell him, nope, $6,000. Silence for another week or two, then the offer of $5,000 comes. That was my number, so I waited a couple days just to shake him up a bit more, and the mediator let him know that I would accept it. I received the payoff within a week, then I got to wash my hands of him in the end. He thought he could cheat me and bully me, as I'm sure he'd gotten away with it in the past. I gave him a swift lesson that could have cost him just $275 to do the right thing. But now I'm going on vacation to Hawaii and will sip a Mai Tai on his dime for trying to take back what I had rightfully earned and more. People like him are so surprised when they have to deal with people that they can't bully and don't accept everything that they say as gospel truth. And our next story. Apartment had broken pipe the first day I moved in and ruined all my stuff. I just moved cross-country for a job with my girlfriend and found a nice apartment in the suburbs. Building was nice, staff seemed fine, everything seemed in order. After unloading all of our boxes and organizing clothes on the floor, we decided to take a break and grab dinner. In the middle of our meal, I got a call from the building saying that we had a fire in our apartment. Later, I found out the sprinkler pipe burst and triggered a fire alarm. I rushed back to find 4 to 5 inches of water and a massive hole in the ceiling, leaking water everywhere. All my stuff was ruined, including my clothes, my piano, multiple computers, electronics. Everything was gone. I did have renter's insurance, but found myself living out of a hotel until the repairs were made. Fast forward 2 weeks. Still living out of a hotel after the building claimed they would have my place fixed in a week. I go in to inspect the place, and there's black mold all over the walls and ceilings. Obviously not a livable space even after repairs. I'm communicating with the property manager, who keeps brushing me off and saying everything will be fine, it won't take much longer. I mention breaking my lease and she snaps, claiming I have no grounds to do that and they'll sue me if I do. So I work in digital marketing, in real estate actually. I have a follow-up meeting with her boss in an hour and decide to do some research into their URL. The website name is the full name of the residence, which is pointlessly long. I find the .net available for purchase, as well as multiple iterations of shorter URLs, which presumably have higher search volumes. I spend $50 and buy them all up. Then I call a lawyer buddy and talk to him about how to use language that will avoid sounding like extortion if I make them buy these back. I walk into the meeting and tell the GM that I want out of the lease immediately. I also say that I want my time off work to be compensated, compensation for all meals, and given a few $1,000s for the inconvenience of living out of a hotel for weeks. She literally laughs in my face and tells me I have no legal grounds. That's when the most satisfying moment of my life happens. I slide over the who is information of all the URLs. She doesn't understand what she's looking at. I tell her I purchased these domain names for this property. I'm planning on building a website that explains my story and including links to your local competitors for free on the homepage of the site. I let her know what I do for a living and hand over an SEO audit I pulled for free on the internet of their current site and explain their poor performance. I let her know that I will have this website outperforming them within a matter of months with links to competitive properties and my story at the top. Her face drops. She's white as a ghost. She has me wait while she gets her lawyer on the phone. I explain everything to the lawyer, being very careful with the language I use. We settle on $5,000 for all the websites. No bad reviews ever, and they break the lease. A week later, when the check comes in, I transfer the domains to a very confused IT person who wants to know why I have URLs of their company name. The lesson in all this? Buy good renter's insurance, and don't let landlords push you around. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one with more great stories and crazy people in it.